Hello, hello. We're back again. We're back again. So, you know how this happens sometimes, ladies and gentlemen. It's very disappointing to me. I'm in my groove doing the thing and the computer freezes up. And, it's just one of those things that happens. And, I used to get much more upset about it before because I'm just like so fixated on the continuity of the show being, one piece. But hey, what the hell? We got a part. Now we'll have part one and part two of this day in history. So you get bonus footage. How about that? So obviously, YouTube must really know what it's doing because I was in the middle of singing the Different Strokes theme song when my computer shut down on me. So it probably was YouTube saying, for God's sake, let's stop this. But different strokes it takes, different strokes it takes, different strokes to move the world. Yes, it does. So we're doing this day in history, by the way. If you're just popping in on this video, please go back and watch the first part so you can know exactly where we left off and what we did. So that was November 3rd of 1978. Different Strokes aired on NBC. So let's finish this day in history up here for this weekend here, ladies and gentlemen. We got November 3rd of 1973. The Mariner 10, the spacecraft, is launched. It would return the first close-up images of Venus and was the first spacecraft to use the gravity of one planet, Venus, to reach another, Mercury. So again, this all goes back to, and I was talking about that earlier with the other story about the dog and the Russian and Sputnik or whatever. So, we just have to know exactly, Anyway, I'm not going to get into that again, but it depends on what you believe out there as far as how accurate some of our space talk is. Okay? All right. Anyway, let's get into some birthdays. It's time for some birthdays. Happy birthday to you. Is it your birthday out there? Let me know. Drop it in the chat. Happy birthday to you. And if it's not your birthday, when is your birthday? Let me know. Drop it in the chat. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. All right, here we go. On this day in 1921, Charles Bronson was born. How about that? American actor. He claimed he was so poor growing up that at one time he had to wear his sister's dress to school for lack of clothing. Oh, my goodness gracious. Well, nowadays, that's a normal thing. People just always borrow the opposite sex clothes and go to school, right? It's like, nowadays, the kid would probably say, I'm really not sure what my gender is, so, since I have a sister, let me wear some of her clothes to school and see how I feel, or let me just see if I get my ass kicked up and down the street for wearing a dress. But anyway, Charles Bronson was born on this day in 1921. Unfortunately, of course, we lost him back in 2003. Elizabeth Smart. Do you remember Elizabeth Smart? American crime victim in 2002. 14-year-old Elizabeth Smart was abducted at knife point from her bedroom in her family's home in Salt Lake City, Utah. She would not be rescued until 9 months later. Her kidnappers were recognized from the TV show America's Most Wanted. Her abduction has been the subject of numerous books and films. She is now a child safety advocate and a news contributor for ABC. So there you go. So Emily Smart, she was smart enough to survive being kidnapped. I wonder what that was all about, really, right? I wonder what that. Maybe they were probably selling her out for some child sex stuff like I was talking about earlier. You have to go back to part one to hear that. Adam Ant was born on this day in 1954. You don't remember I love it. He did Goody Two Shoes. You don't drink, don't smoke. What do? You don't drink, don't smoke. What do? But it must be something inside. What's the other one? He had a bunch of songs actually, but anyway, I'm not gonna get into his whole repertoire of songs. Okay, Dennis Miller was born on this day, 1953. Roseanne Barr was born on this day in 1952. How about Roseanne? Right, she went through some crowds. Kind of like I never really liked Roseanne before, but I like her during these times because you realize why she was so obnoxious and everything, because she's more on the real side of things, and anyway, like what her show, it's her show. They don't like her joke or whatever, she's out. They keep trying to do the show without her. I don't know, it didn't really work out too well, did it? The Connors or whatever the frig they tried to do. Larry Holmes was born on this day, 1949. Let's see here, who else? Ken Berry, he was born on this day in 1933. He was an F Troop. Oh, I remember F Troop. I never cared for that show too much, but F Troop, he was in that show. Let's see here. Anybody else that's worth mentioning. See, they got some deaths. Anybody? Oh, the creator of Batman, Bob Kane, he died on this day in 1998. And anybody else worth mentioning? Sandra Locke. She died on this day in 2018. She teamed up with Clint Eastwood. She often teamed up with Clint Eastwood in movies. She was in Outlaw Josie Wales, The Gauntlet, and Every Which Way But Loose. That was a popular one back in 1978. Let's see. Okay, that's it. Let's go up here and do our thought for the day so we can wrap this up. I'm sorry for the interruption today, guys, that I had to come back and do a part 2, but hopefully you enjoyed part 1. Part 1, I think, was probably better because I was in my groove. Now I come back on. It is what it is. But we're here together because that's what Operation Status Quo is. We have to, observe what happens in life, and we got to just keep working with it. And that's what we're doing here today. So it is time for the thought for the day. And our thought for the day is today, ladies and gentlemen, there is only one way to happiness. Stop worrying about things you cannot control. And if that ain't the truth, then nothing is the truth. The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And that is the truth. Stop worrying about things you can't control. Heyo. We can't control if aliens come down here and, start feeding on our brains. We can't control if asteroid comes from space and kills us all. We can't control if some crazy jihad goes off and they start blasting nukes all over the place. You can't control it. So all you got to do is do what you can do to make your life as happy as it can be each and every day. We can't control anything, right? Even like with the election, they stole the election. Can't control that, right? It's like we're still stuck with the kooky clone, as it were. All right. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's what I have for you here today on Operation Status Quo. Please go back, check out part 1. That's where most of the magic happened here today. But I had to come back and finish off part 2 because that's just the way we got to do it here on Operation Status Quo. If you haven't done so already, please take the time to like, subscribe, share, send this out to your friends, your family, those you love, and of course, those you despise as well. I love each and every one of you individually as well as a group. And until Monday, that's right, because it's the weekend coming up. Until Monday, Operation Status Quo, disengaged.
Boulevard of 10 short blocks.